schoolmate says she was friendly and cheerful, loved music, and planned to be professional. He says he can't believe she's dead. Local police have opened a murder investigation. Tokyo's Ota Ward has become the first to allow private homeowners to provide lodging services to travelers. The ward accepted applications from private homeowners today. The Hotel Business Act prohibits private homeowners from renting vacant rooms or houses to travelers. Ota Mayor Tadayoshi Matsubara says a service to provide safe, clean rooms in private homes has started in the ward. The ward accepted applications from the owners of a one-story house and a condominium unit. They are to begin accepting reservations on Monday. Ota Ward is the first to authorize the private home lodging service. The key to allowing the service to take hold in Japan is understanding by local communities. The service is expected to increase the capacity of accommodation for tourists. The number of hotels and inns in Japan is currently insufficient for the growing number of visitors. The service is also expected to help solve the issue of a growing number of unoccupied houses across the country. The Japanese people have deep-rooted worries about unknown foreigners coming to their condos and neighborhoods. Such worries could be eased if individuals or companies offering the new lodging service can build face-to-face relations with their neighbors. Police investigating the deadly bus accident in Karuizawa, Nagano Prefecture last month say the bus was going 96 kilometers per hour just before it crashed. The bus veered off a mountain road, leaving 15 people, including college students, dead. Police confiscated the vehicle operation recorder of the tour bus and analyzed the records. The bus was speeding at almost double the legal limit of 50 kilometers per hour. Police believe the driver mistakenly shifted gears, causing the vehicle to accelerate while going down the slope. Police say the driver applied the brakes too late, was unable to slow down, and the bus crashed.
Is this agreement conducive to taking a step towards a ceasefire? Foreign ministers from the United States, Russia and other concerned countries met to discuss ways to resume talks to achieve peace in Syria. They agreed to a ceasefire set to begin in a week from now across the whole of Syria, except for attacks on Islamic State militants. But actually implementing the ceasefire does not seem to be easy. A man is seen drifting in the sea. He is desperately holding on to the head of a ship. He was rescued by Turkey's Coast Guard from a boat that was sinking. Refugees are fleeing one after another from the chaos in Syria. They are reaching Europe at the risk of their lives. Ending the civil war in Syria needs to be dealt with as a matter of urgency. Concerned countries have begun to move towards implementing a ceasefire. Diplomats from these countries met in Germany. The meeting was attended by foreign ministers from 17 countries, including the US, Russia and Saudi Arabia, along with United Nations officials. In the meeting, the diplomats agreed to begin supplying food and medicine to residents of areas of Syria that are besieged with fighting as part of a humanitarian effort. They also agreed to implement in a week from now a cessation of hostilities in the whole of Syria except for attacks on Islamic State militants.
That's ambitious, but everybody is determined to move as rapidly as possible to try to achieve this.
That was U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov says participants are satisfied with the agreement they reached on the outline for resolving the problem. Fighting is underway between three parties. President Bashar al-Assad's government forces supported by Russia, the rebel forces supported by the United States and Saudi Arabia, and the Islamic State group. Friday's agreement is intended to have the concerned countries use their influence to call on the Syrian government's forces and the rebel forces to agree to a ceasefire. But The war between Syrian government forces and the rebels has been dragged down into a quagmire. In the rebel-held city of Aleppo in northern Syria, government forces began a major military campaign about 2 weeks ago against rebel forces. Russians are carrying out airstrikes to support the government forces. The United Nations says this has created more than 50,000 refugees. About the agreement, rebels say,
we have to see action on the ground. If we see action and implementation, we will see you very soon in Geneva.
Russia is emphasizing that terrorists are to blame for causing people to flee the country. They say terrorists are threatening residents and driving them to the border with Turkey. Will the ceasefire agreement be implemented?
The real test is clearly whether or not all the parties honor those commitments and implement them in reality.
The U.S. Secretary of State does not view it as an easy task.
The situation in Syria is causing many more refugees to risk their lives to cross into Europe. Will this agreement lead to an end of hostilities? Well, as John Kerry said in the report,